Hi everyone, and welcome to this part 1 of how to draw in Sketchbook Pro. First of all, open up Sketchbook Pro, and what I like to do is check the preferences first of all, make sure that the canvas size is exactly what we want. Here is some iPad settings that I use as a default. Then set the background of what you want, the background layer. You can rename it before adding another layer using the cross button, and rename that by right-clicking the option there, the layer. And now what we'll do is just use the paint bucket tool to add a background layer color before we start sketching. So make sure you always click on the layer you want to be using. I've selected the circle tool and a color, and using the shift button you can use create circles or squares of equidistance, meaning a circle as opposed to a oval. And I've done the same with the eye, and then what I've done is I've selected the circle for the eye and I've cut and pasted and dragged a second one in there. That way it's the same size and shape as the first one. And then I'll just do the same for the eyeballs and make sure, well, within the eyeballs, the black color within there, the irises, and drop some black shading in there and white for the white part of the eye. And you'll see that I just using the pen tool and the paint bucket tool to the pen tool to draw, and then the paint bucket tool to drop color in there. Going to add some highlights there using the circle tool, the white color and the pen. Fill it in. And sometimes when you paint, the tolerances are such that you don't quite get it all, so I just use the pen tool and tidy that up a little bit. So here I'll just add some skin color and then basically add some shading to the body and tidy it up, give it some limbs, and again you'll see the paint bucket tool there. And basically, you know, Sketchbook Pro is a really nice intuitive tool for people who like to sketch. You can use other tools like Photoshop or Paint. I just find this one's really nice. Like, this is another tool I like to use, which is the line tool. You just basically select where you want to start, drag the line across to where you want to go, and then release, and it'll create a nice line for you. And I make sure that the lines at the start and the finish are joining the previous lines there of the body. That way when I want to color it in using the paint bucket tool, there won't be any spill through not having a nicely joined shape there, a closed shape. Okay, so I'm just picking any colors here, some blue and brown for the shoes. And you can see now we're going to add some basic mitten hands, and that's going to give us a nice a nice basic hand for this character. And I'm just free drawing now using the free drawing tool, and then I'll fill that in again. Sometimes what I like to do is select, draw the hand or draw whatever I'm drawing on a different layer, and that way I can then mirror it across, but I can show you in a different tutorial the mirroring tool. Here I'm just free drawing the hands for the sake of the basic tutorial. And I'm going to add some buttons. So the circle tool, fill it in with yellow, copy, select it, copy, paste, drag the pasted version where I want, and then I just have to paste, and paste, drag, paste, drag, paste, drag. I don't have to copy again, which is a nice shortcut. And here I don't think I quite need this last button, so I just go Command Z or Command Z for those in the States, and it'll take me back a step, which is a pretty standard shortcut key. So now at this point I need to add some other features. So I select that pen tool and draw in a nice, very simple shape, freehand again for a smile, and this is not quite right, so hitting Command Z or Command Z again, and drawing in some teeth, and I'll shade those in a minute, drawing in a tongue, and as you can see, it's taking shape using that paintbrush tool. Now what's nice about Sketchbook Pro is you've got this Copic palette of colors, which is a lot more shades of colors as opposed to standard palette, and I find them nice because they're a bit softer than the standard colors, softer contrast, and there's also a lot more options in shading too, which I'll show you in a minute. Here we go. I'm just selecting another color, and yeah, that one there, and see, I can also select the airbrush tool, zoom in using the zoom tool, and you'll see in a minute. Just undo that. I'm going to use the airbrush tool to just start adding some shading. So if you're going to add characters or create characters for video games, sprite sheets, where you really want to save it, you're drawing with the least number of pixels as possible for your games to be able to run faster and use less memory. Shading is really important to get that contrast without having to have so much detail pixelation. Alright, so I've got a bit of shading on the nose now, and we can do a bit more shading in a minute. We'll add some hair, just free drawing there. Make sure that we're joining in with the head so that I can quickly paint in the hair color. Probably the ears, and what I like to do with ears is have the color of the ears a little bit darker than the face, just to show that it's set back a bit more from the face, from the viewer. So I'm going to have to flip the colors here. Lighter for the face and darker for the ears. There we go. Okay, now we'll pick a hair color to match the buttons, and he's taking shape now. Great. Okay, so we'll try a little bit of shading too. Pick a darker skin color and the airbrush tool, and again we'll just go around, do a bit of shading, tidying up, and you know, when you're really sitting down, this is just a demo character that I've created, but here we go, just airbrushing and a little bit of rosy cheeks there. It's pretty easy. A little bit of darkening down the bottom, and pick a highlight color here, a little bit lighter. Just highlight the top where the light might be hitting. You know, in reality I'd probably do some blending between the hair and the face, but you get the general idea of what we're doing here. Bit of shading on the ears too. Then make sure you save what you're doing. You can save it to desktop or any file you want. And that's pretty much it. So thanks very much for tuning in to this part 1 tutorial, and look forward to you staying tuned for the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye.